3000.
What he's doing. My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by Stu Anderson, a.k.a. Stu Singing Bird, a.k.a. Frankston Stu.
That's right.
All the Stews.
Yep. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You're a bit like Clint, who was just known as Clint Yellowbird for a long time, and now you're Stu Singing Bird.
Yeah, well, it's been my business for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
So, but before that, I was in the guitar shop, Guitar Village. So it was always in Frankston though.
Yeah.
And yeah, always been into music since I can remember. I was thinking about it on the way up here about stuff to talk about in local music, and it's been a big passion since I was pretty young.
For sure, man. So let's dive into your story. We'll get to Singing Bird. We'll get to Flippin' the Bird. We'll get to all that good stuff.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure you were born and bred on the peninsula around the Frankston area, man. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Mount Eliza, which is a pretty boring town. It's nice geographically. It's, you're up on the hill. And
it's not very rock and roll, though.
No, not at all. And I just wanted to get out of there from a very early age. Yeah, we were up, not on the beach side or anything, but up the top of Canadian Bay Hill, like road. And there wasn't much to do. You couldn't, you're a K and a half, 2K from a bus stop. And all I wanted to do was go into Frankston and hang out and get up to mischief.
Yeah.
From, probably about 12 or 13 years old. Mm-hmm. So like smoking in the Macca's food court and all that sort of cool stuff that kids did in the mid-90s in Frang.
So it was it's kind of like you're on the good side of the tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no complaints about, I didn't go without anything as a kid or anything, but I was fucking bored. So, and being obsessed with music from my cousins had, albums, and I used to get into it, borrow stuff off them, and just read every little liner note in everything I borrowed and listen to it and worked out what I liked, and all that.
So the introduction to punk rock or music in general, or what were they introducing you to?
I think my first big thing I got into was grunge. Mm-hmm. So Nirvana, I mean, it was coming out when I was 8 years old, that was probably around 92, 93, in primary school, and I was right into it, buying cassettes and all that stuff down at Mornington. Had a little record shop, and
what was the record shop there?
It was called Record.
Independent one, though.
It was an independent one, and they're actually little people that owned it, a family, and they had little steps behind the counter. Not many other people remember this who grew up in Mornington either.
Was it on the main street? It
was on the main street of Mornington, and they had some cool stuff in there, like an alternative section with. I remember buying an L7 album in there and heaps of stuff. So that was kind of cool, but it was like one tiny little rack,
Yeah.
But I'd freak out over all of it, because no internet and stuff. So
no.
But eventually, I got pretty bored with that too. So Frankston, you had Record City, Plateau's Records, Golden Records, which is near Maya on that side, where there was a market there every Sunday. It had dudes selling records and stuff too, but I never had a record player back then, so I just bought CDs and tapes.
CDs and tapes.
Yeah, and made tapes for all your mates.
For sure. And that doesn't matter generally. Anyone of our sort of vintage that I talk to, whether it's hip hop, rock, whatever they're into, the mixtapes was a huge thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And mixing it up and really putting effort into it, hitting pause and making your own compilations and stuff. And then eventually mid-90s, sort of early days of high school, all those comps came out where they were $8 and you could listen to 20 bands or whatever. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that got me into lots of other bands where you could go and buy their album. I mean, that was the whole idea with it. Fat Records and Epitaph and all those.
All those, and that was it was a change for music as well. Like things were really changing. Like not pre-internet, just before the internet, but there was bands that were pushing music in all sorts of different directions. Yeah,
totally. I mean, the local scene in Frankston, then a lot of the bands had more of a funk rock kind of sound, which now it's pretty uncool, but I thought it was cool, slap bass and heavy metal zone guitars and stuff. But
inspired by like sort of Faith No More and that kind of thing.
Faith No More, Primus sort of sound, But there's some good bands for sure.
And so back then, where were people going to gigs in Frankston?
Some of the first gigs I think the first gig that I ever went to, I was probably 12, and it was on the top of Jewel Supermarket in Young Street, which is now a medical centre. But it's an upstairs car park, just bands playing. It sounded fucking awful, but it's pretty exciting.
For sure.
Right in the middle of town. I couldn't imagine that ever happening now.
No.
Especially with like heavier bands too.
Yeah. Obviously Frankston has changed. Young Street hasn't changed much.
Nah, I mean, it's changed for the worse, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
And elaborate on that.
There's just so many empty shops, and
But that's not just Frankston. I think that's everywhere.
It's everywhere. But as a teenager, there's so many op shops that you don't need much to set up an op shop.
Yep.
It'd be cool, people volunteering, hanging out, dudes with mohawks, and going to talk about music, and sort of get excited. Oh, Krusty's working, or whatever. And I still know that dude. He hangs out at Singing Bird. That's how I met that guy. And but yeah, he's probably in his. I don't even want to say how old he is. Maybe in his 50s now. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a fucking legend. He hasn't changed.
Changed. But this is the thing that I think a lot of people now don't realise, that retail shops were such a hub because you had to be, there was no other option. No. And that's sad that we've kind of lost that shit now.
Yeah. I don't think the conversations are lost, but it's a lot more online, and it's kind of can't be as exciting as getting off the bus and going, oh, that dude's working, and she plays in that band, or they're playing on Friday at Out and About Hall or Mechanics Hall, or they had lots of DIY sort of gigs like Bandfest, and that's where I played my first show. It was actually in Somerville, not Frankston, but like there was a good vibe of a very supportive vibe of older people.
And now I think with red tape and fucking insurances and that sort of stuff, that shit's just...
They're not going to let kids hang out and sit around in a shop and maybe drink a can or two and crank Dead Kennedys, or, it just would not happen.
But and this is a greater issue that not just is suffered by somewhere like Frankson, but the whole country, that there is all these retail spaces with nothing to do with them, really.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you could make some of them into galleries, creative spaces, blah, 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 but there's way too many just vacant shops to do that with them all. Yeah.
There is a couple there that are doing that stuff in Station Street, which is right opposite, like off Young Street, opposite the train station, and I've poked my head in there a bit. They're selling like secondhand docks and stuff.
Yeah, I think I've seen, a younger guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure who works in there. I just looked in the window, but it looks cool. That's cool. That sort of reminds me of 30 years ago, a little bit.
But then when you look, you like Plain Street, right?
Yeah, it's starting to pump.
Well, you've got to think, if places are putting like fast food chains and stuff in there, then they've done their research and they're ready for that to fucking...
It must be happening. It never looks busy though, something like Betty's Burgers and that. There's never anyone in there. So I don't know, maybe they can afford to just give it a crack for a couple of years and see how it goes.
I think that's owned by a bigger brand, and I think they probably see the future, and that's probably got a 15-year plan of fucking how they make money, and they know that it's an area they want to be in. On
a sunny day, it would be pumping when there's stuff going on, or the Christmas tree light festival. We call it Festival of the Fights. That's, like something the council do.
Man, but, earlier this year, I went to Big Picture Festival there, and they actually put that on and did a pretty good job with it, man.
Was that on Plain Street? Or where?
It was all over the place where you walked around and they had the different street artists and graffiti artists.
I didn't realise that. Yeah, I know what that one is.
Yeah.
And they do, like, tours and explain
They do the tours, which I didn't do. I just walked around myself. Yeah. But at the end, they had a big wall that a dude did who was an international artist. And then, they had bands and DJs and stuff. And you're like, man, we could be anywhere. Like, this is Frankston. It's kind of cool that they're doing this. Like
I think I helped out with something to do with that. And we had some bands from Singing Bird at Cube 37, which was great.
Yeah.
But
more of that shit needs to happen, though.
I think it's like a once-a-year thing. So
they tour that around,
Yeah. Oh, like for the council to do that event or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. They do a few different things. The Waterfront Festival's all right too. They've stepped it up the last couple of years. So,
but this is one thing that I've noticed as someone who's lived most of my life in Port Phillip, City of Stonington, to come down here, right?
Yep.
And you'll probably have your own opinion on this, but people that were working with the council here, they give them a lot more than the liquor licensing and stuff will give them in those more established areas. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Do you agree or disagree?
Sorry, they get so.
What I'm just trying to say is, when I was worked in bars and stuff in Port Phillip, Stonington, right? Around St Kilda, Chapel Street. If you tried to extend your license, you had no chance. Zero chance. It wasn't going to happen.
Do you mean extend till like 3 a.m. on a
something like
night?
that, or try and change your red line or whatever? It just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But down here, the council seemed to be playing ball a little bit more with people changing their licenses.
Yeah, liquor licensing is not too big an issue. They've been pretty supportive of us. But, yeah, it's more that there's other things that are lacking where you get more funding and stuff in St Kilda. Like, look at St Kilda Festival compared to Frankston Waterfront Festival or even Mordialloc Fest.
Yep.
They seem to have far more infrastructure and, it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger stage. It's sort of more established, I suppose. I don't know if they've got a way bigger team or something, but I've noticed a pretty big difference.
For sure.
With it.
And that's somewhere where I guess, Mornington Shire Council, I think that's who it is. Frankston's different.
Frankston City Council.
Frankston City Council. Yeah. I guess they can work on that. And the fact that they're trying to do stuff is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, there's some younger people there that have not come from the area that are, trying to do stuff, that have supported us. Some of them have, really helped us. So,
do you want to mention who they are?
Even if it's just, there's a bloke, Damien. I don't even remember his last name at the moment, but he had some funding and found out that it just didn't get used.
Right.
So he said, Stu, what do you think? What bands would you recommend? And I recommended some young bands, and we put them on at that Cube 37 thing. We got the back line and hire job, which is great. So that supported us. So we all went. I took my kids. It was cool.
And that is a lot of family-friendly stuff, which is cool,
We put on the Ballet Lip Bombs, Hey Spiro and Gnome, which are 3 local bands that all jam at Singing Bird regularly. And it was really cool. The only thing they could have done better with that event, it was free entry, but you had to register that you were going to go. And they were like, it's sold out, all the registration's full. And it was a shit night, it was raining. And it was half full, and people were trying to get in. And they're like, "Oh, you didn't register." And it's like, "Come on, we could have done this better. Maybe you should have just done first in."
Is it to build a database, or they're just trying to fucking make everyone accountable?
I think they were worried that 500 people would rock up to a 200 cap thing, and they wouldn't know what to do or something. I don't know. Yeah. But they could have probably done that better.
Lesson learned.
It was still cool. Yeah. But I'm cool to. I like seeing good stuff happen, so I'm not ragging on anything. That was okay.
Anyone who has a crack.
And they picked the right bands for that.
Okay. So. With your help.
Well, on the Saturday it was really good. So
on your personal journey, have you spent your whole, obviously you've travelled around, but have you spent your whole life in that sort of Frankston area?
Yeah. I moved out. I got booted out when I was 17, and I lived at my girlfriend's house at the time. We're now married. We've been together for 23 years.
Wow.
But yeah, her parents took me in, and I was studying, I think. They made me, I was working for her dad, who's a songwriter, and his mates and stuff, and just getting some extra work and playing in bands and whatever. But we were out living in a mate's farm by the time we were 18, I think.
Wow.
And that was like a free house on a massive farm. We just had to pay the phone bill. That was it.
The phone bill.
Yeah. And it was a 59 number though. It was cost me heaps. I was running a label at the time, and
so everything was STD.
Yeah, everything was STD call. It cost me a fortune, like $400-500 a month.
Wow.
Because I was doing bookings and whatever. But that was it, and I still struggled.
Well, but you got free rent though. So what was the label you were running then, and what was it like? Obviously,
that was the first thing I ever kind of did. It was called Straight Jacket Records.
Yeah.
And I was studying music business management at JMC Academy in South Melbourne. So I was travelling from this farm, which is in Five Ways. I don't know if you know where that is.
No, but I know JMC was on Bank Street there, I think. Yeah.
So I drove there every day. I had a little 80s Saab, beige. It was a beautiful car.
Yeah.
But yeah, used to drive that every day and go into town and then run gigs, and I'd probably play like 3 times a weekend.
Down here or in the city?
In the city. There was nothing happening here then.
Nothing?
This is like 01.
Right. So where are you playing then?
Art House.
Club, Art House.
No, not the Punters Club. I used to go there a bit, but it was kind of like not our crowd. The Art House was where we went from 15, 16, we'd go there every weekend, and they were pretty patient with us.
Yeah.
They knew we were underage, and we'd go in and hang out, watch a band, and they go, right, you got to go. But I got to see Fuck I'm Dead or 20 minutes of some grind band you never heard of, and you'd find their shit at Missing Link the next day or whatever. We'd hang out in the city all the time. So.
Yeah, and because you had to, because there was...
Yeah, had to. Or I used to go to Richmond a fair bit too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the Corner was all right. There was a lot of gigs there when we were under 18. And I did go to the Punters Club a little bit for touring stuff. But
yeah, and that's coming back this week.
That's so weird.
Full circle, man.
I don't think it's warranted. I think the venues are really struggling already in town, and it scares me a bit. There's like 3 out. The Bendigo's reopening, and you got another one. I can't remember what it is, but there's another one on Brunswick Street opening as a band room as well. And it's like, man, it's too much.
Yeah, well, you can't question the intention.
No, not at all. But
that's the thing. Like, as someone who's seen a lot of venues change over the years, I like that they're trying to go back to live music than just to do another place and think, all right, we're going to put DJs in here and this is just going to be a fucking pseudo nightclub. So I like the intention, but we haven't seen the proof yet.
The reality is that venues run off drinkers. People aren't drinking and hanging out. They're not going to hang out in the Punters Club like it's 1998 and it's $3 pots. And
that's the difference.
They were probably cheaper than that in 98. They would have been like, we used to play gigs and it was like $1 pots and stuff.
$1 pots at the depot on Thursday night. $1 pots at
Richmond. I played there at the depot.
$1 pots and there was also $1 pots.
I played there on a Thursday night. No shit.
Yeah.
DV8, we used to play there. It was horrible beer. It's like in McKillop Street, I think it was, in the city. It's like 3-level nightclub. Yeah, $1 pots or $2 pints or whatever. You go out with $20 and that's your night, and you're shouting people.
Yeah.
To sit in a pub all day now, you've got to be a millionaire.
I went the other day with my mate. We normally just have a few beers at his house, and we met me down the pub, and he's like, man, $15 a pint. And he's like, that's why we can't.
It's actually not that bad.
Yeah. But that's the reality of it, and this is the chat that I was having with Jay from the hardcore scene that you might have seen a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
right?
I had a bit of a listen. Yeah.
Hardcore, and a lot of people are straight edge, they're not drinking.
Yeah.
So that the business model to put on those shows doesn't quite stack up.
That's why the youth centres and all that stuff really works for hardcore. I don't know. It's always a gamble for a venue when, your venue hire just covers sound and lights and door, really, or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're making nothing or actually losing money sometimes. So
for sure. But I think a lot of people, and like yourself, you feel like you're putting on a public service.
Totally.
You don't do it, someone else. If you don't do it, no one else will, kind of thing.
No, that's right. But it's certainly helps when we do have a good night on the bar. But, like Psychroptic played on Friday night, and that's not a massive drinking crowd, even though you'd think metal, they probably are. It wasn't a huge drinking crowd because they're more like watching what fucking time signature is that in, and they want to be on the ball watching these
metal
dudes.
Guys are nerds, eh?
Well, I'm not calling them nerds, but they're
nerdy about their music.
They're really into it,
yeah,
and they want to watch closely at what's going on and know what's happening. So, but the next night was a grind night with a few less people, but it was a good night, and that did heaps better because. On the bar.
But for someone like yourself, I'm guessing that most of the door and the cover is going to the bands, right? So you've got to make your money over the bar. You have to.
Just enough to keep it going, man. That's it. I'm not greedy. And if we really kill it on the bar, we'll waive any venue fees, So we work it out.
For sure. And that's the balancing act, I think, for any venue is to try and put on shows that you want to do without compromising, but still make enough money to fucking keep the doors open.
One thing you got to remember too, I'm in a warehouse in Frankston, in like the shittest warehouse in the whole strip of that industrial zone. Have you been there?
I haven't, but I know where it is though yet.
Well, drop past any time and have a look.
Yeah.
It's no signage or anything. It's like an old building. But some of these venues are in prime real estate positions and they're paying a fucking fortune, man, to be there. So they really need people eating or drinking or some other thing going on there where it's a different stream of income rather than just relying on punters drinking, watching gigs.
100%, man. And I guess that's the way you've diversified, is having the rehearsal space and that sort of thing as well.
And a recording studio.
Yeah, so you've got spots to make other other sources of revenue as well.
That's right, moving parts.
You need to.
It's essential.
And if fucking COVID taught us anything, it's you've got to be able to diversify. Not to bring it to a dark place, but we need to.
I was selling tracksuit pants out the back of my car, and we did a knockoff of trigger pants where it just said Singing Bird Frankston.
Yeah.
And sold about 400 pairs of pants.
Yeah, it was good tracksuit pant weather.
Yeah, it was good. People were sitting on the couch and thinking, what do they need? Pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really feel sorry for some of the venues trying to fill the joint Wednesday to Sunday. It's a really tough thing to do, and especially with so many bands touring, it's a really hard climate at the moment.
For sure. And
it's tough.
I think bands have realised that, okay, Spotify's a whole fucking chat in itself, but they're not making any money from streaming, right? No. The only way they can make money is if you have a certain audience that is of a certain age or demographic. They will buy physical music, but that's pretty rare these days.
Yeah.
So you've got to make your money on touring and merch, and that's it.
Yep.
That's the only way to do it.
Which is a hard slog, and especially when, say, even bands that are really quite successful, say playing 500 to 1,000 cap rooms when they're touring, they're still struggling to pull a wage from it, and they're taking time off work, and they're missing out on all that stuff. Let's say they're in their 20s. You do that for 8 years, you're going to be a bit jaded when your mate who is a brickie, he's got a sick house, and goes on holidays, and you're in the back of a stinking van, and it's tough.
It is, man. But I think what happened was, for a period of time, that the 90s and 2000s, people were making a lot of money from music, and that set the expectations. If you make it to a certain level, you're going to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
And that just isn't the fucking reality.
It wasn't back then either.
But it was perceived to be like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With MTV and with shit like that, people thought you could actually really make a success out of it. Yeah.
A living out of it. Yeah. I don't know if I saw it like that. I mean, my idols were grunge.
Yep.
Even though they made fucking heaps of money, some of the big ones. But
because that was where people were still buying physical music, you know what I mean? So there still was money to be made.
Oh, absolutely. But the record labels fucked them as well.
Sure.
So they'd pit bands against each other and sign 5 bands that sound the same or similar. And then one of them would go on to have a career, and the others... And they also own that name now, and you can't play anymore. And, it's pretty brutal.
It's always been an industry that's been pretty fucking cannibalistic, to the point that the people that sit at the top of the chain have been using people at the bottom for a long time.
Yeah, but they need them, and they need the next one to come through when the older ones fizzle out, or they just have the...
But we don't need labels anymore.
Yeah.
The internet.
Well, you still need people in the industry that work for the artists that most of the time make more money than the artists. Which is pretty tough to swallow for probably young people coming into this industry, I suppose.
But I guess that's the thing. The artist is a person focusing on the art, and they're not the person that's thinking about the business side of it,
Well, yeah, with hardcore and stuff, a lot of bands are pretty DIY. A lot of bands all round are DIY, but you have
to be now.
You still need to have people that know what they're doing, especially cracking in overseas and stuff like that.
So let's get back on your journey, Straight Jacket Records. What year are we talking?
01. I think I ran it. The first release I did was 25 punk bands, all from Melbourne or Victoria.
Sick.
I didn't charge the bands anything. I think I pressed 1,500. I got a loan off my dad, and I never paid him back. And he never lent me money again. And I've still got copies of that.
But you didn't record them. You just got the tracks from them. And
yeah, we just got a tracks sent in. I actually went around with a briefcase to people's houses and from bands and
so what track have you got?
Checked them out at their rehearsal or whatever, and I go, yep, here's a bunch of songs on this CDR or whatever, and pick one, and I put it out. I said, there's no charge or anything. I'll just put these out there, $8. I'm going to sell them at Missing Link for $8. So I think I got 5.
Wow.
But yeah, it was kind of like my job for a bit.
Yeah.
I had a backpack full of CDs, and I did 12 releases on that or something.
So you were just happy to break even. That's all you wanted out of it.
That's all I wanted to do. And I had my band on there.
So it's good promotion, I guess, yeah.
Wasn't really so much about that ever either. I think I just was pretty passionate about shows and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Putting out music.
So did you? And so you would sell out each sort of run, like slowly.
That one I learned a lesson. I've printed 1,500, and I've probably still got 100 left.
Right. If people want them, they can hit you up.
Oh, you can have them. They're at Singing Bird in a fucking milk crate behind the bar somewhere. But I've just never chucked them. I couldn't do that.
No, for sure.
Yeah, some of the recordings were really shit. So I teamed up. There was no recording studio really down here. I think Nepean Music had one out the back that I recorded at when I was really young, like 16, 17. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was not punk. It wasn't the vibe. We didn't feel that comfortable there. There was a guy called, I think his name was like Kenny Wayne Shepherd or something. He had a fucking cowboy hat. And he's like, use this pod, this Line 6 pod. It's state of the art. It's got all the effects in it. Like, okay. And yeah, he put flanger and all this horrible shit on my guitar. And like, okay, that guy knows what he's doing. And it was horrible. But
you don't need any of that stuff when you're making punk music. You just want to strip it back.
I found this dude out in Altona, and he was starting his own recording studio. So I had this next idea. It was called Ballads by the Bay, and it was all bands from down here. And we literally, everyone went there and recorded an 8-hour session, like recording and mixing, and the song's done. Yeah. But that's like 2 or 3 songs, and we put that out. That was a bit different. I think for the $300 per band, they got 50 CDs to sell. They got to go on some shows, I think, and there was a feature in the local Buzz magazine, which was based here in Dramana or Macrae.
Yeah.
And we did a big photo shoot with a guy from Rolling Stone. That's right.
Yeah, cool.
And he came and did that in an alleyway in Franga, like in, I think, Gallery Lane, maybe, but opposite where Plateaus used to be.
So you were always about putting Frankston on the map in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're an underdog.
Because you just felt there wasn't the representation enough.
Absolutely. And I tried over the years to work with every venue to do stuff, and they just, didn't get it. Didn't want to give it a long enough go or whatever, or they've got pokies downstairs. It's not there.
Pokies, man, don't get me started. I fucking hate them. But, like, that in the 90s, I think 94 or whatever, really fucked so many venues, man.
Yeah.
Like, totally. We didn't have them before that, and we didn't need them. They're so fucking detrimental to the community.
I missed all that. So, yeah.
I was still young too, but I just remember, like, venues that were kind of just pubs became places that only have pokies and they black the windows out, and that's all they are.
Yep.
And that sucks, man.
It's really sad.
It is.
And looking at the 4-pub corner, like, I know the owner of the deck, he's doing his thing, his shoes, all right, he's a nice dude. But every other pub there, there's 2 or 3 of them have got fucking pokies, and it's the most depressing shit you've ever seen.
Horrible.
But I'll still go in there for a counter meal sometimes in the front bar, and it's, whatever.
That's one thing that I think, as myself personally moving from the city down to here, is there isn't any pubs. There's hardly any. With
a vibe in it.
Well, no, but they're all pokies venues, and that's, that's just,
So what do you... Because sometimes a pokies venue can have all right food, but that's not their priority though, really, is it? Because they're
filtering people in to siphon their money out.
So if they're food shit, what do you reckon they think about music? They couldn't give a fuck. Like, that's ALH, one of the main, ALH.
I can't talk too badly about it, but yeah.
Okay.
No, I can't. No, I can, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see what happens there. They do live music, and they've got these band rooms with pokies all at the bottom, the Pier Hotel. And it had character, man, that room, revolving dance floor of the 21st century. Yeah. It wasn't my thing. I never went there, but I used to run gigs at the Pally Bar, and I don't really like it, but it was the only thing we had at the time, and it was kind of cool.
Well, it was a way for people to come to Frankston, because if it wasn't that capacity venue, they wouldn't be coming here.
It was a 300 cap room. I used to work there, doing some bookings and stuff, probably late 2000s. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed when I do go to a show that they cut the bar off at halfway through the headliner's set and stuff because they just want everyone out of there. I'm thinking, who would like that's like heaps of cash on the bar if it's a full room of 300 people. Yeah. Who's calling the shots? Like, why are they doing that? They just want all this rowdy shit out and let these grannies keep fucking spending their whole life's earnings on these pokies downstairs.
That actually people spend their whole like retirement, inheritance, whatever you want to call it.
It's sad, man.
Just giving it away.
Yeah.
Super sad.
Yeah, but it's just real weird with that whole room. Anyway, back to that Frankston thing, but I don't know.
Well, this is the thing, man. But hospitality's in a very funny spot now. Like we've got, without trying to fucking sound like a news bulletin, cost of living is a thing. Everything's fucking expensive. Costs you $10 for a packet of cheese. So people going out and spending money at venues it's a tough time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And venues have got to come up with other ways to do it. Pokies isn't the answer, in my opinion.
No.
But they also are fucking hesitant to put money into live music too.
Yeah, but when they do, it's like half-assed. You know. I don't know. There's got to be a budget there for it. Come on, they would be turning over huge profits.
Yeah. But that's why people like yourself, the owner-operators, and like Clint, who are doing it on a much smaller level, but you guys are putting in the work to actually do it because no one else is fucking doing it.
Yeah, I just got the shit, I think. With I was running some really good shows at the Peninsula Lounge in Murdoch. Did you ever hear of that venue?
Yeah. Out the back there.
That was a 400 cap room or something. Really good PA, good lighting setup and all that. It was comfy for touring bands. I had heaps of space there. And the dude kept trying to renovate it and get tradies in there for lunch and put pokies and stuff in there. And he fucking went broke. Like trying to... It's like if you just opened for shows, you would have been all right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough for him. He wanted to make it like a restaurant or something. I don't know. It is a restaurant there now, I think. I don't know. There's Indota Spas and all that stuff there.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to be a live music venue, you can do music and you can do food, but you can't really be everything to everybody.
Nah, that's right. I just think Melbourne venues that are struggling need to kind of think outside the box a little bit and maybe try and utilise their venues for something else when they're empty during the week or even rehearsals. I don't know. A heap of rehearsal joints have shut down. It's quite hard to get a booking in Melbourne now. So
yeah, they were everywhere for a while in a lot of different industrial areas, and now they're just. I guess the overheads are just too much.
Yeah, and setting them up now is really hard. Like everything's gone up. PA systems have gone up. Like building rooms, it's like probably doubled since we did it. So, yeah. But we slowly did it too. We didn't get a loan. We just worked for nothing for years and built it. You know. Yeah. That's how. Yeah, why Singing Bird is special, I think, because it's not some business idea. It's from the heart, and my business partner has put everything into it as well, you know.
But that's the only way that these places are going to survive now, because if you've got too many people at the top, there's going to be too many conflicting ideas. We're not making enough money, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It has to be owner-operators like yourself.
Yeah. Well, we did some silly things with Singing Bird at the start, like no cover bands. That was essential to what we are, what it's become now. Bands are ringing up, trying to book in a rehearsal. Okay, so what band is it? Oh, we haven't got a name yet, but what sort of music are you playing? Is it originals or right? What? Look, my name's Jared. What's the problem? Like, well, is it a cover band? All right. Like,
so you were just screening them like that?
Yeah. And we're a wedding band. Okay, sorry, man. No, we don't do any covers here. They're trying to pay, and I've got empty rooms, and I'm like, nah. We're not doing that. We're going to have a different vibe.
When they close the door, what's the difference? What kind of music they're making?
It does, man. You're trying to write a song next to someone playing fucking Jesse's Girl or something.
I was just about to say Jesse's Girl.
There's a sign up in our studio that says, yep, do you guys, it says no covers. Does that include Jesse's Girl? Yes, cunt, it does. So, yeah.
So still to this day, you won't let them rehearse it?
Nah, and there's a bit of an ongoing joke. If I walk past, a room, or especially my neighbour Jared, who plays in Clowns. Yep. He also plays in covers bands and knows every fucking riff. Yeah. So he'll play something funny.
Just to stir you up.
Just to stir me up a bit. Anyway. It's been really good because we're encouraging original music, and it's full now. We're going well, but it did take a while.
For word to get out there, or for people just to sort of come around?
Yeah, for word to get out there, I suppose. But I don't think I don't think it puts people off really jamming there, but it puts me off. And the things that I've jammed in nearly every rehearsal room in Melbourne, and the things that gross me out, a dude's talking about how much money they made at some corporate gig on the weekend, talking about how sick their cars are out the front, and just like, yuck.
Yep.
We're pretty different. I'd rather just not see that when I'm trying to be creative and have a good time.
You want a safe space for the creativity, but like, man, it is a balancing act, and I spent a lot of time DJing and playing shit music that I didn't want to play because you've got to pay the bills. So there is a balancing act there for people that want to do what they do.
Oh,
give the punters what they want.
Don't get me wrong. There's no disrespect to anyone doing it as a job. You got to do what you got to do. But we've just made Singing Bird is its own special thing. Just for us, and that's okay. Just for the originals.
So then, let's talk about. We're jumping ahead in your journey, but we're talking about Singing Bird. So let's talk about it. Where did the idea come from? How did it start? You said it's been the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So where did the idea come from? Was it born out of necessity because you just needed to do it?
I didn't actually start it.
Okay.
So my business partner Andy Simpson, he came down from Wollongong, and he moved to Melbourne, played in a bunch of stoner bands, had quite a bit of success. He's toured all over the world doing that shit, even South America and stuff. His brother plays in Grindhouse, Mick. Andy's played in Grindhouse too, and another band, Full Tone Generators, that's Andy's baby. He got some members from Caius to play and recorded in the desert and did some awesome shit, doing all that stuff, and toured, TM'd a bunch, tour managed a bunch of stoner bands around Australia. Mm-hmm. But we'd never crossed paths, and he moved. Because
you weren't leaving Frankston, or because you weren't?
No, I always played around, but because we're in different scenes, even though I quite like Caius and stoner stuff, that's not my main thing. I'm not a stoner freak, He is, and he was moving down here to Crib Point, where he still lives, and he got this idea to set up a recording studio in Frankston, and got recommended to come and speak to me about building some rooms and whether I thought it would be a good idea. And obviously a few other people had said this over the years and never done anything. I said, sure, man, build the rooms, then come and see me and I'll help you. We'll come jam there and I can help you get some more bands in, because I was already working in the guitar shop around the corner.
Yep.
In a little alleyway there, out Guitar Village, it's still there. And I was teaching guitar as well with a bunch of other local musicians and stuff. So we knew a lot of musicians in the area. But anyway, he went and built the rooms, ran out of money. So I came in, I was sort of volunteering, helping, and we're jamming on rugs on dusty concrete, and there's fucking bits of plaster and Behringer PAs and horrible gear.
Not Behringer.
That's another thing. No Behringer, no cover bands. Except for their DI boxes, they're okay. And their headphone amps.
I got one just down there.
Anyway, I ended up falling in love with the idea and putting a bunch of money into it, finishing the rooms, getting some wholesale gear, and through my retail music background, I got some good deals on PA equipment and set them up. So slowly we built it up.
And just as a rehearsal space to start with, there was no idea of live gigs?
Sorry, that's wrong. The first thing I did was chucked in $250 each to build a stage.
Yep.
Which is the tiniest thing. It's in the dungeon bit now, and we've extended it from what it originally was.
Yeah.
So it's basically just a drum riser. It wasn't painted in there. It was really, really grim, but
that fits your vibe.
It was a great vibe.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck, this is getting. People want to do this, so that just grew from there.
And were the council cool when you wanted to start to introduce a liquor sort of thing and that sort of stuff?
They haven't been too bad. They've been all right. I'm not going to complain about the council.
No. I'm just curious because, like I said, I've come from a space where you're just trying to say all of a sudden we want to turn a warehouse into something that sells booze. They fucking just go, no, you're not. You know what I mean? So I'm curious.
I think there's enough trouble in Frankston
to divert the attention,
and they could see that we're doing something good, and we really talk to all the kids and the bands that come in. The people that come to the shows, and we all do care about them, and we don't want them getting locked up and getting bashed by the cops and all that stuff like I did when I was a teenager. I got in heaps of trouble, but I luckily got out of it, because of music.
Yep.
So whether if I had a singing bird, it would have been a dream as, you know, a 16, 17-year-old kid starting a band with supportive people around you and decent equipment. Like, fuck.
Yep.
That's paradise.
Yeah. So you feel it's you need to put that out there so people have that space where they can feel comfortable, where they can have what you didn't.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think a lot of the older bands that come through go, oh man, this is awesome. Like, you know, imagine we had this.
Yeah.
So it is cool. But the council have been okay.
Yep.
Like,
and what about the first Flippin' the Bird?
Yeah, that was interesting. We only had one stage at that one, so it was a mess. That was in 2017, and I think we had King Parrot, who I used to teach guitar with, Ari, one of their guitar players. He taught at Guitar Village in Frankston.
Yeah.
Clowns, Bat Piss, Pagan. You're testing me now. Scratch and Sniff, which is one of my bands. If you've ever seen someone with Frankston Chaos Thrash on the back of their jacket, that's that band. Andy's one of his stoner bands played, Don Fernando, and we had Stiff Richards opened.
Wow. At
3 o'clock or something in the boiling hot car park to about 30 people, and that was rad. But yeah, there was still a different mentality then. Like there was a punch on out the front at the end of it, you know, and I thought, man, this is shit. We've gone to all this effort and people are just going to remember the punch on. And anyone that you talk to that was there, it was like, man, there was 10 cunts. No, it was 20 cunts. It was 50 cunts. It was huge. It wasn't that bad. It was about 4 or 5 people punching on and about 20 people standing around trying to break them up. But it was shit. And we made
That's not what you want it to be remembered
for. That's exactly the opposite of what we want. We want everyone to get along.
Yeah.
And even if your worst enemy walks in the door at Singing Bird, you don't fucking punch him there. Go somewhere else. Sort it out somewhere else.
Go to a pokies venue and punch
Yeah,
on.
go to a pokies venue and do it. No, don't do it here because it's going to
Don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's going to fuck us up.
Yeah.
Even like the art house back in the day, there was barely any fights there because people respected the joint.
Self-regulated.
And they respected the owners and what we had.
Yeah.
So there is much of that vibe.
For sure. Man, I know that there's some people that I've tried to put gigs on and they're like, oh, we won't have a hip-hop crowd because they'll bomb the toilets. You're like, oh, man.
I don't mind.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to you about a potential gig as well after this.
Live on it.
Yeah. Well, we won't do that, but yeah, I'll talk to you about that afterwards. But yeah, it is important that people respect venues. Like, you know, I get that some stuff comes with certain scenes, but it's hard enough for venues to put stuff on. Don't fuck their joint up when they do, you know?
I don't mind if they do inside the venue. That's fine. But if you fuck with my neighbours, that's not cool.
No.
And I'm there the next morning with a rag and a bloody thing of metho trying to get it off. Some of it's hilarious, though. Like some of the graph from last weekend, I think it said, like, Peggy, if you don't contact me in the next 6 months, you'll never meet the baby or something. I'm like... Oh, man, it was funny. But
Are they taking the piss?
I have no idea, but it's got to be, surely.
Yeah.
But that's on the fucking fire hose box out the front, and I can't get it off. They put acetone in it.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to mess with your neighbours because once they start complaining, then the whole fucking operation gets...
Yeah, we're pretty cool, man. I check on the neighbours and give them beers and stuff. We look after each other.
For sure.
But
So that was the first one in 2017?
Yeah.
2018?
2018... Yeah, we did it again. I haven't even talked about the touring, but my friend Dave Collins, who I used to run the touring stuff with, he booked the Art House for years and then the Bendigo, then now he's at the Gasso. But yeah, he bought out a band called Greenleaf from Sweden, and they're a stoner rock band. Andy was pumped. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's mix stoner and punk. That'll work. It bombed. We lost heaps of money. I got a way too big a stage and...
What, so you just think you'd overshot the...
I think I got a bit excited because the first one was awesome. Mm-hmm. But I also got a band, Charter 77, who were my mates, old school punk band that was actually on Trial and Error. I think they put a release out through Nigel back in the day that was mixing that with stoner. That's like Mohawk punk and stoner. It's probably not that smart.
Right.
It was a really good lineup. Private Function were on it and shit, but they were tiny then. And
yeah, they're huge now, man.
Yeah, I know. But I knew, I think that whole band lineup's changed except for the singer now, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad lineup. It's just Frankston wasn't quite ready for it. So we lost a bit of cash on that, and that was pretty tough to cop. But I thought next year I'm not going to spend that much on production. We won't even have a flippin'. We'll just call it Cool Secret Party. And people played on milk crates and pallets and shit. Yeah. And it was great. Yeah. And it was $20, not 60 like the other, we had to be more.
Stripped it back to the essentials.
Yeah, and then we've built it since then. So probably the last 5 have been awesome.
And you're talking multiple stages and a fucking shitload of bands, man. Like, logistically, that's got to be tough to organise all that.
Yeah, I mean, I did my first big lineup with a lot of bands in 2006 through Straight Jacket Records. So at the Espy, and it was like the Gershwin front bar.
Basement.
And the basement was there then. And that was 33 bands.
Crazy.
So, and making mistakes like picking up backline and getting stuck in footy traffic and just dumb shit.
Driving down Hoddle Street when the footy's...
But learning, and all that stuff I've learnt.
Well, that's it, man. Even when you do cop, like you said, 2018, you cop a bit of a loss, you learn your lessons.
But no, I knew as well, if I didn't book Flippin' for the second time, we probably wouldn't have done it again.
Okay.
So
you got to keep riding the momentum.
Got to keep doing it. And, I think we've done 7 or 8. But the 3-stage thing started on the third one. So we got the second factory. So that was the start of 2020.
Yeah.
And that was shit timing.
Yeah.
But, that was shit timing. But we made it work.
Yeah. And like a lot of people in the arts industry, there was some money, but was that enough to keep you guys afloat for that period?
Nah, we went through hell, man. I had to go on the dole. I thought if I'm going to keep this going, I'm going to leave my job at the guitar shop. I had a good job. I was managing a guitar shop, working 40-ish hours a week. Mm-hmm. I wasn't teaching anymore. I was teaching for ages too. And I had little kids at home by this stage. The third one, just had the third one in December, and I had like 2 under 3, so 3 kids under 4 maybe. I don't know.
That's crazy, man.
It was brutal. And we just got the second warehouse where the main stage is now. And I thought this is going to take everything I've got to keep it rolling. And we had to change everything into a company to get JobKeeper and all this stuff. And the pants thing was good. Selling pants out the back of my car probably saved us.
Yeah.
But we still managed to do flipping every year for
just in the gaps. Yeah.
In the gaps because it's the end of summer, so the lockdowns ended and whatever. I don't know how it worked out, and that saved us for a couple of months at least, or got us through the winter. And
I guess the positive thing is people were itching to do stuff, so when you had
absolutely
something to look forward to, bang, they're back.
I think maybe COVID helped get a more of a crowd that really understood and appreciated it.
Yeah. The thing is, and sort of my business is rooted in that kind of stuff as well, the stop-start of the fucking lockdowns was the thing that killed it. Like, for me, it was like you try and get your shit back together.
Boom.
And then it happens again. You're just like, if it had just been, okay, this is 6 months, everyone get used to it, and we're back. Like, okay, fuck, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It was the stop-start thing that was really the most hard for most people to get their head around.
Yeah. I remember there was a rule that you couldn't rehearse, but you could podcast or what do you call it? So you can live stream, right? Yeah. So we had a job live streaming for a few venues through this tech dude. It was a bit of a wank, really, the whole thing. But so you're not allowed to rehearse, but you could rehearse with a camera in the room. So we started doing that. We were pushing it by the end. Like, fuck, man, come on. Yeah. All my neighbours are essential workers in the block. Like, a cabinet's essential, really. But I get it. They've got to work, man. But, my wife's a hairdresser. I'm a studio guy. And I can't, neither of us could work.
Yeah.
So it was pretty tough.
Man, it's crazy. I know people that were going to, like, backyard setups to get their hair cut and stuff. That's so crazy. Like, dudes who were knocking on the back of doors to be let in through the back door to get their haircuts. Crazy times.
Yeah, we may have facilitated a few illegal haircuts.
Which sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah,
bananas, man. But so flipping after the lockdowns and everything, you come back and now you committed to do it every year.
Flippin, yeah. It's huge.
So, but you did the momentum.
Oh, I thought you meant from now, yeah.
No.
From after the second one, we started building it up, but we made it really cheap because we're like, the production's not awesome for each stage sort of thing. They're just vocal PAs half the time.
Does that making it cheap though? That's got to be tough with so many bands on the lineup to fucking pay, you know.
I've always either paid at least couple of $100, $300-400, or given them studio time, or worked out a barter system.
Yep.
I'll try and be as fair as possible.
Yeah.
So it sucks though when a band goes, "Oh, we've got credit from 2 years ago." So I'm like, "Fuck. All right, cool," but that's fine. But bands, it's cool. Like. But yeah, like that was how it worked. A lot of bartering and people supporting each other. Like if my band plays, we don't get paid, stuff like that. Yeah. But no one really worried too much.
No, but you strike me as somebody who wants to make sure everybody gets what they deserve.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So I'm just thinking that's going to be hard logistically when you've got so many bands on the lineup. You want to make sure everyone's taken care of.
Yeah, well, some of the local beer companies have been fantastic with that. Yep. With flipping, everyone gets a bucket when you arrive, and so you're not, because that's one thing. If you're hanging around all day and you drink beers, you're going to be spending a fortune.
Yeah.
We looked after the bands like that, so everyone gets a tub.
Yeah.
Like every band, so there's 40 tubs with someone marking them off each band.
Yeah, sick.
It's a pretty good system.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pay is what it is. It's a $60 ticket on a 41 band thing, and heaps of it goes on production and security and all that stuff. But we try and be fair with it, you know. The bigger bands, like the headlining bands, often take a cut, so everyone gets more of a fair pay, which is awesome.
And that's the price you pay to be involved in something that's cool that you're happy with doing, you know?
Yeah. And it's a bit of a party as well, you know, for local people. They don't have to travel too far. I always try and look after the travelling bands as well, you know. It's gotten way more expensive too now, getting around. So
just touring in general, man, yeah.
Yeah. But everyone's doing it. There's like so many tours at the moment, which is cool, but it's really hard for the local scene.
Yeah.
I've noticed. But
that is the trade-off, isn't it? Like, but I guess the same thing can be said because the local people can go travel as well and they can make their money interstate.
Yeah, but you've got, for example, this weekend in Melbourne, there was a lot of underground metal and like so many different shows on, different tours, different, you know, promoters, which is awesome. It's healthy, but it's where if you're a local band trying to do an EP launch in the middle of it all those shows went okay, as far as I know. I'm talking like Full of Hell, they toured together. Then you had Hellhammer. That was at like Frankson Band Room. Psychroptic were touring, and then this Japanese band, Visiri Infest, were out doing a Frankson and Melbourne show as well. That's heaps in one sort of...
It dilutes the punters, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, one sort of sub-genre of metal. Psychroptic don't really fit that, but the other ones kind of fit the same crowd, and it does dilute it a bit, but those shows were still good. But if you're in a local band in that same style and you were trying to play at like a different venue around the corner, you would have really struggled to get anyone there unless you have heaps of mates or something. I don't know.
But clashes like that are always going to happen within scenes, you know what I mean?
It's just full on. That's pretty full on at the moment. And lots and lots of tours playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights as well.
Which is good for Melbourne music.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's just you're competing with a lot, you know, I'm talking from a local band perspective.
Yep.
So you've really got to look at what else is announced around if you do an EP launch or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough.
It is, man. For any genre of music, for people, you know, there's always going to be those clashes, and you're going to be fighting for your small core audience to get them to your gig.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's the grind.
Yep. We're a bit lucky at Singing Bird because we do all ages too. So not many people, I don't think many Melbourne venues do it at all.
It's a bit dicey for some, yeah.
Yeah, because they've got to do a de-licensing fee and all that. So the difference with us, it's like a sports club kind of vibe. It's just cans only. Yeah. But yeah, we keep an eye on everyone. You've got wristbands, do bag checks, put up with all their bullshit. But we like the kids, man. They buy heaps of merch. And then they start bands and... Yeah.
That's it, man. The merch game is something that people really have stepped up lately because they sort of, out of necessity. But it's cool because someone like me and you that like fucking cool merch,
Oh, man,
it's good.
I've got so many black T-shirts, like hundreds of them. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I love it, though. I love supporting bands and buying merch or patches and stickers and
all that cool stuff.
My kids love it too.
Yeah.
More people should do kids merch.
The thing is with...
Like little kids merch.
I know, but the thing is with that, man, is it costs just as much to print a kid's T-shirt as it does an adult. You can't sell it for as much. You know what I mean?
I reckon you can.
Yeah.
I reckon you sell it for $25 or something. If it's a single colour, you still double your money on it.
Yeah.
I don't know, T-shirt printing's gone up heaps too.
Everything has.
Another thing.
Everything has. Yeah, everything.
We had a local dude for ages there, but he threw in the towel, so...
it's a hard game, man, the whole merch thing.
Yeah, totally.
Like, people think, oh, yeah, I'll just get some T-shirts done, but those T-shirts have to be ordered and they've got to be prepped and you've got to fucking screen print them and you've got to box them, you've got to tag them.
You've got to pay someone to design the thing that's going on your T-shirt because if it looks shit, no one's going to buy it. You got to pay the freight on it to get it to you.
Overheads, too many overheads.
Yeah, a lot of overheads. And then you don't want the shittest quality T-shirt because they just shrink and no one will wear it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think a hoodie's got to be above $60 now.
Have to be.
For sure.
But you know, man, if you buy AS Colour Blank, I think a hoodie, it's going to cost you like $40, right?
37, I think. I've got a wholesale account. Well, that depends. It depends what deal you got with them. If you're on like print heaps, you're on a diamond account or whatever, you get better deal. You might get it for $28 or something.
You still run the numbers on that, right? So let's go $40, and you got to get it printed, which is another what, $10 or $15.
True.
Then you got to sell. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you got to sell it for $80 to make your money back, and then a little bit.
Yeah, I should have said 80. It used to be 60, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we used to sell them for $50. But yeah, I know.
That's what people have got to get creative, man. But merch is getting cool. Like you look at some of the merch that people are doing. They are
some of the ideas, you mean? Like
they're thinking outside the box.
Trying to think of what some of the grind bands had on the weekend. If there was anything different. Tom from Grindhead Productions makes all these like plastic figurines and stuff.
So you got to think outside the box.
Like a dumb monster with a dildo and I don't know. He's a tripper, and then he's got like hockey masks, but it's like a shit one you get at a $2 shop, but it's in a package with his band thing on the cardboard, you know. So it's cool.
Yeah,
it's all branding
for sure.
And people want to hang that shit on their wall, you know.
Yeah, man, that's it. And now that I've got this studio space, I can bring all my shit that I can't keep at home. Yeah, that's
Tell me about it.
Yeah. My storage facility. So with Flippin' the Bird, what's the plan moving forward? To grow it or just to keep it? No, just to keep it at where
where it's at and try and
you're at the balance point.
Try and make it work. Yeah, I've already pretty much done the whole lineup for next year. So
locked in.
Pretty much.
And when is it? Feb?
March 1st.
March. Okay.
Yep.
Can you leak anything?
I'm not saying a word.
No?
No.
Not even a little...
after the podcast, man, I'm not, Okay. I'm not saying...
Just not to jinx it or anything.
No, I don't want to jinx anything. And, create controversy. No, it's more... I like making it a surprise. And
cool.
Whenever I drop the lineup, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like... Poof.
Bang, here it is. Yeah.
And it sells pretty well straight away. Mm-hmm. But I don't really advertise. I don't spend a cent on advertising for it as well. So,
but that's when you know you've got an engaged audience, when you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I know, but you could make it bigger and put it on a footy oval and, you know, do all that shit. But then gross.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the problem with, and look, obviously large-scale festivals are a totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like a lot of those aren't working. Then you've got to fence everything off. You've got to get temporary security. You've got to do all that sort of shit. When you've got your own venue, that's where things like this can actually work.
Yeah.
To grow them within your own confines.
It'd be... The thing is, everyone that comes is right into the underground music and they want to see new shit. It's a celebration of new music and the bands that have been jamming at Singing Bird for the whole year. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people that are giving it a real crack and they're at all the gigs and they're, you know, I always want to put those young kids' bands on first or something even on the main stage. I've done it before. So, yeah, it's kind of... You've moved it to a 4,000 cap thing or something, you're going to get a whole bunch of normies punching on out the front like it's the first one again and people don't quite get it. I think we've done so much work to get to that.
Yeah,
that
you don't want to undo
I don't really want to have that again.
For sure. That makes total sense, man. Let's talk about your touring, like tour promoting and touring, band touring sort of stuff.
International bands.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Started in 2008. I think I did my first one with Dave. We brought out a band from Germany called the Birds. So I don't know.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, skate punk, late 80s, legendary band.
Yeah.
No one was going to bring them out, and it was basically just one of our favourite bands. So we were just pissed at the art house one night talking, and like, fucking let's do it. And it was kind of hard to get onto people back then because it was MySpace. That's how we promoted that whole tour, through MySpace and message boards.
Yeah.
Or bulletin boards or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you even call it?
Forums.
Forums. Yeah, so we did. That was a successful tour, but he did take his band on the whole tour, MIC, who One Inch Punch, Mid-Youth Crisis, pretty big deal because they never played much, so a lot of people were pumped for that. But
And what kind of rooms were you touring them to?
300 cap rooms, pretty much. Maybe bigger in Sydney. I think we did what was it fucking called? It's called the Crowbar now. It used to be called the Bald-Faced Stag. That was in Sydney. And I think we did the Zoo in Brisbane. We did the Enigma Bar in Adelaide. That was a bit of a crap one. It's a Wednesday night in Adelaide. Like,
That's
the
thing with these tours. You got to line up the dates, like because Melburnians are more likely to go out on a Tuesday, Wednesday than other cities are.
Yeah, we didn't ever tour them like that because Dave's the booker at the art house, right? And back to that whole thing, mate. I don't know if he was thinking like that then, but people are going to drink more on a weekend, and he's trying to make it a good thing for the pub too. So, So we did a Friday, Saturday, or it was a Saturday, Sunday at the art house. Both nights sold out. And I think we went to Tassie too. Man, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, we always gave Melbourne the Saturday because, man.
You want them to drink?
Oh, well, not really. We just wanted it to be a big party and have a great time and go out after or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was, and the mentality then was the same as what it is now. You just want to break even, keep it going.
Totally. I had to borrow money off a mate to put in to pay for the flights. We made the money back. I don't think we made money on top. Yeah. But it was sick. We went around the whole country with the Birds and MIC, and Canberra was in there too. I'm just trying to, it's all coming back. We did the ANU bar in Canberra, and I could see like bands like I Exist for the first time, and it was really cool just going around the country doing that. And then we didn't do anything for ages, but we were booking bands, and I was playing in a few bands, playing guitar and stuff. But the next one we did was Poison Idea. It was a band from Portland, Oregon. Legendary hardcore band. That was sick. It's like 9 days of just chaos. We TM'd. I was on the whole thing. I think we flew back to Sydney on a Monday night because the other one sold out, and they played again. And then back to Melbourne and did a Tuesday at the Old Bar, like secret shows at the last minute.
Sick.
So they played every night.
Wow. And partied too.
Partied hard, yeah. Jerry's sober now, I think. I don't know.
Because you don't know.
He's looking good.
You don't know with some of these bands, because I'm guessing some of them would be right into the partying and other ones would be pretty chill, you know? You don't know.
If you're not familiar with Poison Idea, they're like, nihilist, just crazy party, hardcore. Just have a listen.
But a lot of people are sober now that even were into that whole party thing.
Yeah, but he was still
that was peak party.
He was still going. And we had a good time, but I don't know if I could deal with that now. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That week would probably kill me. But we killed it on merch for that. We made skateboards. We did hoodies, zip-up hoodies, patches, everything.
So say, like, obviously every scenario is different, but say you go to these guys, you approach them, we want to tour you in Australia. They're like, cool, you fly us over, blah, blah, blah. Yep. You do a deal with them, say, this is the merch, we're going to take a slice, you take a slice.
Yeah, we say if you want to do merch through us, that means we pay for it.
We front the cash.
We pay for all the merch, we front the cash. It's a 50-50 split after we pay for it, after costs. And then whatever's left, we'll work out the deal. And we got left with like 18 small hoodies. I've still got 3 of them in my cupboard, and that's really tight.
That's what you got to learn with that stuff is the bell curve. You want to have
don't get small hoodies.
You want to get a lot more larges, but I guess with the punk stuff, people like it small as well.
Yeah, I don't know. They were tiny, man. Gildan zip-up tiny hoodies.
Yeah, that is the thing you got to realise. You don't need those smalls. And one thing, I just did a run of merch, and I had so many big dudes like, man, you need 3 or 4 XLs, and I'm like, I didn't even think.
How are those hoodies not more expensive? It's a lot more material.
That's the thing.
They are more.
Well, they're not though, but they're
really extra jumbo ones must be.
Yeah, but see, that'd be discrimination if they made people charge more for.
It's more material though. Like that's why kids' shit should be smaller.
But imagine that people would be saying, "Oh, I'm a certain size, and you're making me pay more." That's discrimination. I wouldn't have it, man.
Yeah, I suppose.
World's too woke for that. Cool. We're back. I'm drinking. Got my water.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. We're just talking off air about kids. And I've got a kid similar age to yours, and like it's cool because you want to push them into creative areas, not push them, you want to guide them.
Yeah.
And it's cool when kids actually take you up on that, because it'd be a shame to have creative parents and them not to take advantage of that sort of stuff.
Or just to not give a shit and go, oh, this is my thing. You know,
you've got to support them in that as well if they wanted to.
Yeah, I've seen that through working at the guitar shop years ago. Some kid of a famous guitarist would come in and buy an absolute piece of shit guitar and the dad's not there. I'm like, what's going on? That's horrible. What are you doing? Anyway, whatever.
At least they're buying a guitar.
Yeah, I suppose. But it was like, that's his journey. Let him buy that hunk of shit, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tough love, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, on the weekend, we did a drum workshop, which was all ages. And the drummer from Viscera Infest, he's one of the fastest blast beat drummers in the world. And he's quite popular on Instagram. He's plays in his jocks. That's his thing, and he's really quick. And it was hilarious. There was a very broken English, the whole thing. It went for about 20 minutes, and there was about 30 or 40 people there, a bunch of kids, and my middle kid, Angus, got up and had to go on the drums, and it just went for it, I probably would have been too nervous to do that as, six-year-old?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool that they get surrounded by that stuff, and it's not a big deal,
No.
But without trying to push it
That's the
too
thing,
much.
man. With my son, I've got skateboards all around the house, a lot of records and stuff, and I just leave the shit around.
Yeah.
Hopefully he likes it. I don't want to be like, go jump on your board.
Careful with the records.
He likes all the colourful ones. He'll pull it out and go, man, this one's got a rainbow on it. This one's got cool colours.
Yeah.
But I should probably put them away.
I don't have any good instruments in the house because they fucking trashed them. Maybe they're getting old enough maybe to have a couple. Yeah.
That's it. You want to guide them into what they're into. You don't want to push them, that's the thing.
Nah. And my kids like some really good music, but then they'll fuck with me and put Crazy Frog on or something. On Spotify at the studio while I'm moving amps around, and there's some people there that I think are cool, and I'm like, man, come on.
That's the thing. Once you get kids fucking with your like playlists and stuff, then it can be my son was into Man's Not Hot a lot. We had to listen.
What's Man's Not Hot?
Man's Not Hot is that comedian that did the like sort of grime track. Anyway, he listened to that a lot, man, and that kind of fucked up my Spotify algorithm a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I know adults that do that to each other. If someone's logged in or whatever, just put something on repeat. Like, I don't know.
Man, I think I almost broke up with an ex-girlfriend because she Beyonce-fied my fucking Spotify when I wasn't there, and I came back and I'm like, this has fucked my algorithm.
Yeah, that's rough.
Busted. Let's talk more about what you were doing in between, because there's a lot of time in between your straitjacket stuff and then you're singing Bird stuff.
Yeah. Straitjacket probably went from 2001 till about 2006.
Mm-hmm. That's a good stretch for a small independent.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make money, but I didn't really touch on that properly. The Ballads by the Bay thing was pretty important.
Yep.
Because Ballads by the Bay, it's all bands down here,
Mm-hmm.
And the people, it was kind of a weird time. There was a lot of screamo, that sort of music, which I wasn't into, but it wasn't about what I was into on the other releases.
So you were saying screamo was out there, or screamo was happening?
Screamo was happening, right? And we were going to record at this studio in Altona, 8-hour sessions back to back. He was doing 16-hour days, this dude. And I'd put it all out on a comp. The band's got copies or whatever, and it was a pretty good thing. And they all became sort of networking and friends, and some of them ended up in other bands that did quite well. Mm-hmm. Even after that, haircut kind of became uncool. Maybe it'll come back. A flock of seagulls.
That was a big sort of MySpacey thing, though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I didn't fit into that at all. I was wearing like tight jeans and boots, and had bad mohawks, and I was always into the old school stuff.
Yeah,
but well, I didn't give anyone shit. I was like, cool, you're in bands and you're down here, and started running gigs down here around that time with Straight Jacket. Yeah. So I was already doing that. Even a tiny little pub called the Robin Hood, which was downstairs on the Peen Highway. It was about 80 cap. We were running shows in there all the time.
It's not there anymore?
Oh, no. The dude tried flooding it, I think. And, he was out there. He tried flooding it to get the insurance money, and they busted him. And
really?
Bad, yeah, bad.
Wow.
Daryl. I wonder where he is. But yeah, after that, the get on the stage was our touring thing, me and Dave. So, but there was quite a bit of time between the first tour and Poison Idea. Then after that, we did heaps of tours, and a few more people got involved. By then, Dave was at the Bendigo Hotel, and I was doing stuff there while working at the guitar shop. So,
and he stayed there at the Bendigo right up until.
He had a few dramas. He left and then went back and then left again.
Okay.
And
it's going to reopen again now, isn't it? It's been shut for a bit.
Yeah, it's opening next weekend. They've got Coffin playing and stuff. Good luck. I hope it works. I just don't know how there could be that many 300 cap venues and that's
totes across the road.
Yeah, or two blocks up.
Yeah, not far.
Yeah. And then the Gasso's just there. That's got 2 band rooms. Tote's got 2 band rooms.
And then the Punters Club going to open up 2 blocks
and
away.
You've got Nighthawks over the road. You've got the old bar. You've got Bar Open up the road. There's a lot of venues there. I just hope it's okay and they manage to work it out because I hate seeing venues shut down.
What I really hate, man, is when the venues shut down, but then people don't repurpose them for other venues.
Yeah.
And it's happened in St Kilda, man. There's places with 3 a.m. licenses that just turned into a fucking workout, like a gym place. And you're like, man, you're never going to get another 3 a.m. license there on St Kilda Road.
No, once it's gone, yeah.
It's gone. And that's the thing that really gets me, you know?
Actually, a lot of the booking I did early days was in St Kilda. Mm-hmm. So the SB, I think I was booking shit there in the Gershon room when I was in high school.
Wow.
And because you're on the phone, they didn't know how old you were. And Trish, she was lovely. She's like, yeah, mate, you can have the Gershon room on a Saturday night in December.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, all right.
This would have been when Dave was working there as well.
No, Dave was at the art house. So
I meant Dave Barrett, but yeah.
Trish was the main booker, I think. Yeah. I was running shit at the Greyhound as well.
That's gone forever.
They knocked it down. Man, that's so sad.
That's still sitting there doing nothing.
It's an empty lot. Yeah.
Empty lot. That had like a 24-hour license, didn't it?
I don't know, but...
Until 7 a.m. or something.
It was mad, yeah. Late night license. But, the SB, that Greyhound, they were the 2 main ones I did stuff at. I even did shit in Edwards Tavern or something in Paran.
Edwards Tavern?
ETs.
Oh, ET. So that was in Malvern.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Malvern.
It was on Chapel Street? No,
the ETs was, I'm pretty sure was on Malvern on High Street.
Okay.
I think.
I only did a couple of gigs there. It was okay, but yeah. There was a punk scene there though, you know, and I can't imagine that working in St Kilda. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Like once the SB got taken over by Sandhill Road, who obviously I
haven't been in there. I
DJ'd there before it got taken over when it was the old SP.
Yeah.
And after. It was very different. The people hate on it and how it's been done. This is how I break it down though, right? It either exists the way it is now
or it doesn't.
Or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So you can totally suck and you can hate on it, but you can actually have a beer there. You can go and see some live music. Maybe it's not your kind of live music or whatever, but it still fucking is there.
It's only in the Gershon room now though, at the back.
They still do music downstairs in the basement. They still show sport. They still do stuff in certain bits.
The gigs I ran in that basement, like grind bands throwing raw chicken around, and it's just a fucking different world.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. But that's the thing. It's either apartments,
yeah,
a day spa, or it's that.
Yeah.
So it is like it's like the lesser of two evils.
I'd rather see it as the original building, at least. You know,
have you seen that dude who just recently makes the
miniatures?
Yeah,
it's sick.
Man, fuck.
He goes to all that effort though, and then puts a lid on it.
No, but you can
take it off.
I'd love to get him on here and talk to him. I messaged him the other day, man.
I thought he was sticking it on forever.
No.
Like fuck, that was a lot of work.
A lot of work there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Security used to have it was still dying back then though. Really, the more I think about it, I ran a gig there with 33 bands, like I said. And it was all right. The security used to bash the fuck out of punks, though. That wasn't cool.
They do it to the hip-hop guys, too. They weren't discriminating. They would bash everyone.
They bash everyone.
But I think the security back then were bikies, though, man. Pretty sure.
There was a goth dude, though, Kieran from Catwitch. And he had, like, the fucking, those, what do you call them?
The eyes.
The eyes, yeah. The contact lenses with, you know, he looked like a vampire, like a real vampire. He had, like, the teeth and everything. But he was cool.
Yeah.
I never saw him bash anyone, but everyone else could get fucked.
What do you think, like we sort of touched on, obviously the SB's a different place, but what do you think about the live music scene around the city and stuff, man?
I think this whole CBD is dead, man. It's pretty sad. Because we used to go play the Green Room, Art House, even places like the Stork near the Artie. You go and have a beer there, game of pool.
Yep.
It's not there. I don't know what's there now, but...
The city's a funny one, man.
I know that Matt and Mel, who had the Reverence and the Art House before that, were looking at opening a venue in the CBD years ago now, but I wonder whatever happened with that. It's a shame.
Yeah, the city's a funny place. Like, it's kind of like you don't go there unless you have to. Well, I feel like that.
No, I do too. I don't mind going to the shops with the kids, like the Comic Minotaur and all that, but that's probably the only reason I go in there. Well, Fed Square's all right, like for a family thing, or the SBS building.
Acme and stuff.
Acme, yeah, looking around. But and then I like going to the gallery and stuff. But I don't know, man. There's no fucking gigs, that's for sure.
Yeah. But look, is that because people are moving out to the suburbs more with going to stuff like that? You don't have to go to the city as much? Or is it just that those areas have become so... You look at, like, say, St Kilda or Richmond... Live music isn't going to work there as much as it used to. Like, sure, fucking, you know, the corner's still going, you know, but it's not what it was.
Nah. I don't mind watching a band at the corner, but I hate going on the roof, man. It's horrible.
You don't like it?
Nah. I just remember going up there and there was a few, like, logs of wood. People just sitting on them, and there was a guy listening to Caius or something, smoking billies.
Yeah.
Just serving jugs for $6 or something. That was sick.
Personally, I think as a lot of places have been renovated, I don't dislike that one. Like, it's not that cool, but it could be a lot worse. And it's sick just seeing the trains roll past and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. The setting, the location's great. It's more just yuppies up there when you're at it could be like a brutal gig downstairs, and then I'm surprised there's not more trouble, to be honest, but I've never seen it.
No. But that place, I think, has been reasonably tastefully done and hasn't lost its soul as much as some of the other places have.
Yeah, I mean, I just I had a personal connection with that rooftop, and it's a bit sad, but anyway, I still go up there, whatever.
Times have changed.
If I'm at a gig, but I wouldn't just go to the corner for a beer.
No.
I don't really go to Richmond much. There's a few good venues there when I was young too. I'm trying to think. The Central Club, that's not going anymore, is it?
I don't know.
It was never that great, but it was all right. Yeah.
So is there any places in the city that you wouldn't go to? Like, is there places that you're like, nah, I don't dig how these guys are fucking operating? You'll
probably hate this. I played a gig at the Laundry Bar once. That was awful.
Well, yeah.
It's just not our vibe. They shouldn't have bands in there.
It's gone very hip-hop since Dave's had it, for sure.
This is years ago.
Yeah.
Man, I don't go out that much. Yeah. At all. I'm running gigs every weekend, and then I'm a dad, like, flat out. So, yeah.
And that's important.
And if I go to a show, it's usually, your regular, the Gasso, the Tote, or I don't even know how I feel about going into the Bendigo now. I'll give it a look, but yeah, it's weird when someone new takes it over. And
at least they're not rebranding it. It's still going to be the Bendigo.
Yeah, no, it's cool. There's a lot of history with that building too. So there's no venue that I'm dead against it. I'm like, fucking not going in there. At all, really.
What about, okay, so it's a tough time for live music. What do you think that the councils and the powers that be with the funding need to do? Just give more money to people that are struggling? Or is there got to be a grander plan?
Well, they gave heaps of money just to Mushroom Group. I know that. A council person told me that.
Right.
So that's pretty piss poor. That's just an easy way out. There we go. We're supporting the music community, and it's like you could ask around a little bit or even just do a little bit of homework and see what's happening. And the sort of things that I believe premier artists, but they're all under the one umbrella, would do with that money is give say a council, a band that's on the bottom of their catalogue that no one's asking for, a gig for $6,000 and no one's going to come, and it doesn't matter because it's free money. Mm-hmm. But we could do something good with that money and make a successful event, and then it goes back into something like Creative Victoria or did something with us recently.
Do you think it's because they're good at grant writing proposals?
Oh,
or do you think
grant writing.
Or do you think it's just that they go, well, fucking Mushroom will do it, just give it to them?
Yeah.
A bit of both.
I thought you meant the people going for the grants that get them all the time.
Yeah.
They're great at it. That's like a full-time job, isn't it?
I think you could probably outsource it to people. ChatGPT, get us a grant.
I got a grant. There was an article in The Age that came out, and I didn't realise that there's a big photo of me sitting in Singing Bird, and it was like the sounds of the suburbs or something. You know, it was all right article. It missed a few things, but anyway, all of a sudden, you're in The Age. The council want to talk to me, so...
Yep.
They come down, we can get you this and that and this. And I'm like, okay, sick. I can do with that cash. We can do this with it and that. And the way they wanted to do it wasn't how I roll, man. So I turned it down in the end.
Right. Just because they wanted too much creative control.
Yeah, similar, a few things. But I actually paid a grant writer to help me with it and took a loss on that. But we got accepted for the grant, but we were going to have to do a few other things that, I didn't want to do. I wasn't comfortable with. So I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Man, and good on you for not compromising your artistic integrity. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like,
we'll just keep struggling.
Well,
that's all right.
Well, there's honour in struggle, though. Do you know what I mean?
Like, it's not like I don't do anything with the council. We do freezer gigs. I do a couple a year. I've done a Creative Victoria thing for a regional. I don't know why we were classified as regional, but anyway, whatever. That was all right.
But that's a whole new debate, though. Like, as much as we feel like we are somewhat regional, coastal, whatever you want to call it down here, we're still greater metropolitan Melbourne.
I know. I just went for an award, actually, for Music Victoria, for Flippin the Bird, and, we come under Metro. So I knew that.
Yeah, but it still seems
But when I knew that, but when you see on paper, best Metro festival, I'm like, I'll go for it anyway. Let's see.
I feel like they need to redraw the line, and Frankston should be the end. The end of the train line, I feel like that's metropolitan Melbourne.
It is, isn't it? When you get to...
Mate, it's all the way down to Portsea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. That's right. That's why people were cracking it in the lockdown.
That's it, yeah. But Geelong's not.
Nah, which is fucking closer.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Makes no sense.
Whatever. Not much does, man, in this... with all this stuff. But, what I found with all that too is I was thinking about grants and all. I wasn't really thinking about what I should be doing, and is running the fucking studio and just doing my thing and just keep going. That's
the thing with a lot of this stuff. It actually diverts you from what your actual fucking game plan is, which is running your business and doing the best job you can. You start worried about, do I do this stuff to tick these boxes to make these cunts happy? That's not what you're about.
No, that's right. So, I'm just like, whatever now.
Do your thing.
Keep doing our thing until, we can't do it anymore. But I don't know. It's going to keep going, I hope.
It's going to keep going. Do you want to, as we wrap it up, man, do you want to give let people know if they want to come rehearse, if they want to get involved, if they want to put on a gig, what they should do in aspects of getting in touch with you, man?
If you're in a band, maybe, if you're in Melbourne, just come down to a gig. don't send me fucking tons of messages on Facebook and through our business page. We rarely ever check it, and we rarely post on there and stuff. So just come down, find us. Maybe my number's everywhere. It's all over the ticket site. If you buy a ticket for an event, my phone number's there, huge. So you can text me. I'm happy to have a chat on the phone. It's pretty old school. But come down and say g'day. I can even show you around the studio if you're keen. You've never been there. If you're playing, original music, we want to support you. So come down and we'll show you around. It's like cheap rehearsals, $80 with a drum kit. We can throw in some cabs, and I make it pretty reasonable.
And what about people that want to put on gigs there?
People that want to put on gigs, it's a bit of a funny one because, if they're trying to do something that I'm already booking, bands I'm already booking, or bands that I help do bookings for a bunch of bands as well. So if it crosses over what I'm already doing, I'm probably not that keen. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, why don't you just come and get involved more than anything? Because, we don't need more promoters sometimes.
You need to build the community, though.
We need someone to help put the fences up and helps the bands do their changeovers or, other stuff like that. But, have a think about it. If it's something different, I'm keen. I'd like to do some world music or some hip-hop or... I've tried a couple of hip-hop things and I found that the community wasn't as supportive of each other as the band scene.
There's different levels to it. Like there's levels in difference.
But dudes walking out deliberately not watching that guy. And I'm like, come on. We had a full house payers-wise, but the guy that ran it played to 30 people, thinking, that's a bit rude. he put the gig on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
People vote with their feet, though, don't they?
That was rough. I didn't think it was bad. Anyway.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah. I'm pretty contactable. Yep. So it's my full-time job.
Yeah.
But shoot me an email or a message and we can have a chat. If you're coming up in the industry, I'm keen. So.
And more touring stuff?
No, I'm focusing everything on Singing Bird and just doing this.
Yeah.
Every time I put a heap of energy into doing something else, I find that Singing Bird suffers from it. So
you can't spread yourself too thin.
No, and I don't want to be on tour sleeping on floors and shit. I've done it heaps. Yeah. And it was awesome, but I'm fucking getting old.
That's it. All right, Stu, man. Well, I'd love you to come back in when you can do a bit of an announcement on who's coming up at next year's Flippin' the Bird.
Totally.
And to talk about other stuff because I think... this will be, you're not far away, so you can come back down, we can have a chat, you can get some things off your chest when things pissing you off. When you've got some more stuff to announce, man, it'll be awesome.
Sweet, man. Nice to come down. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
2000.